Hello, friends. As a reminder, I trained as an internist, medical doctor. Then I took a fellowship in endocrinology. Then I trained in neuroendocrinology, the study of brain chemistry. And then I sort of became very interested in neuroscience. And then I got interested in consciousness. And it took me a while to realize that the brain itself is an appearance in consciousness, that it has no inherent existence, just like the physical body has no inherent existence, nor does the physical world. So, if we go beyond the conventional understanding of perception as a product of the brain, we encounter a deeper truth. The brain itself is not the ultimate source of perception, but rather an appearance within consciousness. And I know this perspective challenges materialist assumptions and aligns with deeper philosophies like Advaita and certain strands of modern science as well, which suggest that consciousness is primary, while all else, including the brain, is a reflection or interpretation of consciousness that is fundamental. The brain, as we conceive it, is not a self evident reality, but an interpretation created within consciousness. Neuroscience tells us about the brain through scientific instruments and observations, but these instruments and observations themselves are experienced within consciousness. For example, we see images of the brain on an MRI scan, but these images are appearances in awareness. The concept of a brain is a mental construct, a collection of ideas and interpretations shaped by human thought. Therefore, the brain is not an independent reality, but a phenomenon that arises within the field of consciousness. The brain itself contains no colors, sounds, or interpretation. I'll repeat that. The brain itself contains no colors, sounds, or interpretations. These are experiences that arise in consciousness. Colors are not present in neurons or synapses, they are qualities perceived in awareness. Sounds are not vibrations in the brain, they are auditory experiences arising in consciousness. And interpretations, this is a brain, this is a tree, this is my friend, do not arise as physical entities in the brain. Even the brain doesn't arise that way. They are mental phenomena experienced subjectively. So that the idea that the brain creates these experiences presupposes that the brain exists independently of consciousness. But this assumption crumbles when we recognize that the brain itself is known only through conscious experience. From this perspective, consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain, but the fundamental reality in which all appearances happen. All appearances appear, including the brain. This aligns with, of course, Advaita Vedanta, which I've been teaching all these years. In traditions like Advaita, or even Zen Buddhism, it is taught that all phenomena arise within awareness. The body, the mind, and the world are actually entangled appearances in awareness, and that includes the brain. And now we know that some interpretations of quantum physics suggest that reality at its most fundamental level is not material, but informational or experiential. Observers, that is consciousness, plays a role in collapsing quantum possibilities into definite states. From this standpoint, the brain is no more real than any other object we perceive. It simply is another appearance in consciousness. And of course, conditioning shapes perception. The way we perceive the world, including our belief in the brain as a source of perception, is shaped by conditioning. Cultural and scientific conditioning. Scientific conditioning is also a conditioning, leads us to believe that perception originates in the brain. Personal conditioning shapes how we interpret our experiences, seeing something as beautiful or ugly. This conditioning itself arises within consciousness and can be transcended through practices like meditation, self-inquiry, Atma Vichar, which reveal that all appearances, including thoughts about the brain, are transient and secondary to pure awareness. So the brain is part of the dream, the lucid dream in the vivid now that we call the world. This is a radical implication of this perspective that what we call the brain is part of the dreamlike reality as everything else we perceive. Just as objects in a dream have no independent existence outside the dreamer's mind, so does the brain have no independent existence outside of consciousness. So, when we go beyond conventional materialist thinking, it becomes clear that even the brain is an appearance within consciousness, a reflection shaped by conditioned thought. There are no colors, sounds, or interpretations in the brain. They arise only in awareness. The ultimate reality is not found in neurons or synapses, but in consciousness itself, the infinite field in which all phenomena arise and dissolve, including the appearance of the brain. Recognizing this truth invites you, I hope, to transcend identification with physical forms, what I call the superstition of matter, including our own brains, and rest in the timeless awareness that underlies all experience. This is freedom from the superstition of matter. Don't be bamboozled by the superstition of matter. I hope you're enjoying this. And if you do, please respond and share. Thank you, my friends.